The 1980s was one of the greatest eras for horror films, mainly popularizing the slasher genre, which came out way before that. But the 80s took off because a little movie called Friday the 13th came out, and people loved it, so they wanted to go see that movie. So that's what the 80s was mainly about, was about slasher films. But it wasn't all slasher movies, there were some other films that came out in that time. And most of the ones on this list are not slasher movies. Yeah, so I don't know what the point of that opening was, but here we are. Anyway, I'm really excited to talk about my top 10 best films from the best horror films from the 1980s. And let's just go ahead and get straight into this list, starting off with number 10, which is Pet Cemetery from 1989. Now, yes, we're gonna pick one horror movie from each year. That's how this is gonna work. So, from Pet Cemetery from 1989, this movie is very creepy. Not as creepy as the book, but man, this movie gets under your skin. There is some really intense parts in this film. So many just really scary moments, especially with the sister character that's just creepy. Now, the little kid that turns evil at the end, yeah, that's not scary. But the rest of the movie has a really kind of down to earth, really poignant story of this family who loses their kid. Dad goes insane, takes him to Pet Cemetery, brings him back to life. Ends up being the worst mistake he could have made. And yeah, it's just, it's a really great film. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's not nearly as good as some of the other films on this list, but from 1989, this was the movie that I saw when I looked at all the horror films that came out that year. It was like, yeah, that's probably my favorite one from that list. So yeah, Pet Cemetery, 1989. In 1988, we got They Live by John Carpenter. This movie is especially poignant now looking back on it, man. If you look at They Live and you look at the messaging and you look at what this movie was trying to say, yeah, this is very, very real comparatively to nowadays with how the media works and just the idea of you're surrounded by these things from another planet that has taken over and has controlled the news and has controlled everything that involves the planet, and you only know that by putting on these glasses that shows you who people really are and shows you the world is more in black and white than you thought. Yeah, this is a great premise, and there are some people who don't like this movie very much because they feel like it's too on the nose. I think for 1988, this movie was very bold. There's a fist fight in this movie that goes on for about 20 minutes, and I love it. Our main character here is really fun to watch. You're not really sure for the first like 20 minutes if he's actually going insane or this is real. So that's really fun. Yeah, I really like They Live. I think it's a very underrated movie. In 1987, we got Hellraiser from Clive Barker. This movie is just astounding. I love this movie. It is not nearly what the sequels are, which they go much more to the Pinhead and the Cenobite level. This movie, they just kind of just throw you into it. You don't know what is happening for a little bit. All you know is this terrible person is coming back to life, and we're following our main character, Kirsty, who is dealing with all this and with her parents that are one is alive and is horrible, the other one was horrible and is coming back to life, and there's this affair thing going on. It's just a really weird movie, and then you get to the Pinhead stuff, and it's insane. It is incredible. I love everything with the Cenobites in this movie. I love the way they look. I love the idea of this world. It's so interesting to me, and I feel like the sequels don't dive into it nearly enough. I would love to see these movies just look into what's going on in the Leviathan and everything like that. But as is, yeah, I mean, Hellraiser from 1987 is just, it's amazing. And Doug Bradley as this character, our main character, Pinhead, is just perfect. In 1986, we got Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. This is my favorite Friday the 13th movie, based solely on the fact that for the most part, this does not take itself very seriously. It is extremely silly, goofy in moments. I mean, it is so ridiculous where the movie opens. In the last film, Jason wasn't even in it because he died in part 4. This one opens and he gets resurrected by a lightning bolt and becomes a zombie. Like, the franchise goes off the rails from here, but it's still really, really fun. And this is where the franchise, in my opinion, gets really, really good. Part 4 is where it got good, but this movie is just. I always, when I show people Friday the 13th, I don't really show them the entire series in full right away. I'm like, okay, we're gonna watch part six, Jason Lives first, because this is the one that eases you in the most into the Friday the 13th universe and who Jason Voorhees is. And we get some great characters introduced in this movie. We get not a final girl in this, we get a final guy, which is very interesting with Tommy. The movie's just really fun. I really enjoyed this one. It is goofy, it is silly, but it is a damn good time. In 1985, we got Fright Night in the original, and this movie is just really fucking good. Like, I love this movie. I think it's honestly perfect for the most part. We have a great character here in the story of this new neighbor moving in. Something's weird about him. We found out he's a vampire, and there's multiple vampires, and he's trying to take over this guy's girlfriend. And we got this show host who is just a parody of old 1970s and 60s and 50s horror shows that came on the air back then. And dude, it's really good. I really like this movie a lot. I love the Vincent Price angles and kind of aura of this movie. It is really fun to see. Our main character is really good. Our main vampire is amazing. I love him. He is an amazing actor, and he's really good as this character, and he's really charming, which he's supposed to be. And everything else in this movie really works. There's some tragedy to it with the girlfriend that gets turned, and his best friend that gets turned later in the film. It's really, really good. It's just a good movie, and I love the vibes of it. In 1984, we got one of the greatest horror slashers of all time on the big screen for the very first time. That is Freddy Krueger, A Nightmare on Elm Street, being directed by Wes Craven. This movie is a classic. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say about A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. It's scary as shit. It's creepy as shit. I swear this movie is gross in points, and the other franchise movies get much more gross, but this one is creepy gross. Like, it's not just gross for the sake of it. I love that angle of this movie. Robert Englund as this character is just perfect. He's just perfect. And same thing with our main final girl in this, Nancy. She is a great person here, and she is a really fun protagonist to watch. Johnny Depp, this was his first ever movie. I love the vibes of this. I love exploring who Freddy Krueger is, and it's crazy to think that before 1984, nobody knew who Freddy Krueger was. Nobody knew what Nightmare on Elm Street was. That this movie comes out the gate swinging, and it's just a great, great horror film that does an incredible job at conveying this atmosphere and this creepy tone, also introducing us to one of the greatest horror slashers of all time. In 1993, we got John Carpenter's Christine, which is another adaptation of a Stephen King book on this list. This isn't as good as the book, in my opinion. I really enjoy the book a lot. I own it. This movie, though, I say it's still pretty good. I like this one a lot. It's not nearly as just weird as the book gets, but it is really, really fun in parts. I mean, it is a killer car coming to life. Like, how can that not be fun to watch? In the opening of this movie, seeing the car get made is really great, and our main character kind of falling to what the car is trying to get him to do is really, really good. The other characters in this are kind of just cannon fodder, and the rest of the movie doesn't really follow the book a lot, but what it does do is still really good, especially what it does originally here. I mean, this was a movie made in 1983. They had to appeal to the general masses, they had to appeal to the general public, and just saying, hey, car kills people, car murder people, and not have it be this like weird love triangle thing going on makes it just a lot better. And it doesn't make it so it's super duper confusing on which character we're following as the book does. I don't know. Christine, not as good as the book. Still really. In 1982, we got one of my favorite Halloween movies. Barely not as good as the original, but that is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Funny enough, doesn't include Michael Myers. I just adore the vibes of this movie. It is so much fun to watch. It has that creepy, spooky Halloween atmosphere that you want, and it does what the franchise was always supposed to do, which was be an anthology series, which is what John Carpenter wanted to do here. And while audiences didn't respond well to this movie, looking back on it years later, I watch this movie at least once a year because it really does hold up. I mean, the whole idea of just mass consumerism and this company making these masks just to kind of play a prank and a trick on the whole world's population. Being like, yeah, we can get your kids to buy these masks that don't really look that good, and they're going to eat their face later that night because we want to. And I love love that idea here in the movie. It's such a bummer ending, but I adore it. This movie holds up years later, and I wish that Halloween would experiment with ideas like this again, because the anthology series, while I love Michael Myers, it's just a really fun idea. In my second place is Sam Raimi's original Evil Dead movie from 1981. This movie is really good. Not as good as Evil Dead 2. I did put, I believe, Hellraiser above Evil Dead 2, even though I really love that film. This one I love for different reasons because it is creepy. I mean, all the other movies in the Evil Dead franchise, after like the next two that came after this, were just a lot more goofy. This one's like, no, we're gonna have you go into a forest and the tree's gonna do some things to you, and we're gonna make the audience watch because we hate them. Like, I kind of fuck with that idea, and I really, really like the way the movie does things. This was Sam Raimi's one of his first films, and he really just showed promise here as a horror director, and especially as just a regular director. Like, it is really fun to watch this movie because you get to see all the Sam Raimi isms start. Bruce Campbell isn't nearly as silly as Ash in this movie as he is in the other films, but he's still really, really good. I still think Bruce Campbell is a very underrated actor, and I really like him in this movie. I don't know, this one's a really good time, and while it's not as good as Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness even, it's still a really fun, enjoyable movie. And rounding out this list, the best film, horror film of 1980, I mean, did it really have to be anything else? Yeah, it's The Shining. The Shining is just really good. It's another Stephen King adaptation of a book on this list, and it is the one case where I like the movie more than the book. This movie is a classic. It is so much fun to watch. Seeing Jack Nicholson just go absolutely insane in this movie is just it's just great. And the idea of this world and what does all this mean, and the whole thing with this hotel, it is just really, really fun to watch just seeing this person go absolutely insane and destroy his entire family. And the movie is just, there's so many moments that are unexplained in the film, but they add just this creepy, weird atmosphere this movie creates. Not nearly a lot like the book, but still better than the book, in my opinion. And I just really, really love The Shining after all these years since 1980. And that is my favorite film of 1980, my favorite horror film. And that movie, The Shining, rounds out this list. So tell me in the comments below what your top 10 favorite horror films of the 1980s are. I picked a movie from each year in this list because I feel like it just makes it easier for me, because if that was the case, I'd be doing like a top 20 of the 1980s. But as is, tell me in the comments below who you guys rank your top 10 favorite horror films from the 1980s, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.